like to call the Macomb City Council, a special meeting of the Macomb City Council to order, please. I've determined that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent due to the current disaster declaration in effect, and members of the public and the council are advised that the chat feature of the Zoom meeting will continue to be disabled. The chat is not public comment, as not all participants on the call can see the chat. Screen sharing will also be disabled for this reason. If you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If the clerk would call the roll, please.
Mike Wayland.
Here.
John Vegesi.
Just a second. Let me find him. Now you can unmute there. Here. Sorry.
Annette Carper.
You're going to have to...
Here. Tom Cook. Gail Carper.
Here.
Tammy Lee Brown Edwards.
Let's see her.
It was here. Okay. Dennis Moon.
Here.
5 present.
We have a quorum. Thank you. We have some public comments that have been submitted. We'll have the clerk read those into the record, and then we'll ask for any additional public comments.
Yes, 7 public comments were received, and I will read them in the order that they were received. Okay, the first one, at last week's meeting, the Macomb City Council did not read comments sent by email about racial justice, including my own. The City Council also censored some of those who wanted to speak during the meeting about racial justice. However, the council allowed racist tactics, including obscene videos and racial slurs, repeatedly to interrupt Dr. Martin Abraham's address. Dr. Abraham and WIU deserve an apology, but the bigger issue is that Macomb's elected officials need to start taking active steps to end racial injustice in our city. Photo ops, conversations, and town halls are not enough. A particular problem in our community involves its law enforcement. I fully support the petition of the Democratic Women of McDonough County, which now has over 10,000 signatures. It calls for immediate actions to be taken, including that the Chief of Police, Kurt Barker, step down or be removed for multiple failures and abuses in the policing of our Black community members. The American Civil Liberties Union and the Illinois Attorney General are currently investigating these failures and abuses. These problems aren't going to go away because authorities in Macomb have chosen to ignore them. Mara Cole. This public comment is being submitted on behalf of the Democratic Women of McDonough County. We wish to alert our community to pay attention and respond to a miscarriage of justice in progress against a disabled, traumatized Black mother who is a victim of what we believe to have been possible excessive force, assault, police cover-up, McDonough County jail negligence, and possible prosecutorial misconduct and incompetence at best. Ariel Harrison is a petite woman who is blind in one eye. For a suspected DUI, FOIA evidence suggests she was brutally yanked out of her vehicle, manhandled by the Macomb Police Department officers, and taken to jail. Evidence strongly suggests she sustained an apparent closed head injury during the takedown. She was left unconscious in the jail for an undetermined amount of time, awakening with 5 taser marks on her body, bruises, and a closed head wound visibly apparent on her forehead, which wasn't even mentioned in the report. The jail failed to provide nor seek any medical aid for her, failing to even ensure she was safe from risk of developing intracranial bleeding, concussion, or more serious traumatic brain injury. Refusal of medical attention is a severe human rights violation and must be investigated. She could have died. All persons rendered unconscious in the jail must be properly evaluated by qualified medical professionals in the nearest healthcare facility. This was not done. Now she is being pressured to accept a bad plea deal by her public defender, a pattern against Black community members for whom we have submitted credible evidence of police brutality against them to the Illinois Attorney General. We believe a cover-up threatens to allow our justice system send this partially blind, traumatized black mother to jail to hide the truth from the public. We asked the county board to investigate the allegations. They have failed to do so. The Illinois Attorney General's office is investigating, but that will take time, and time has run out for this black victim of police brutality. We demand that the Macomb Police Department be investigated for this and the many other complaints being shared with the Illinois Attorney General, the ACLU of Illinois, and we demand that all charges be dropped. Please consider joining us this Tuesday as we demand justice for Ariel by gathering outside the McDonough County Courthouse at 8 a.m. to witness this case. Our petition calling for Chief Barker to step down and the Macomb Police Department to be investigated is approaching 10.5 thousand signatures today. We can't expect the City Council and Mayor to even acknowledge it. When can we expect the City Council and Mayor to even acknowledge it? Our community deserves answers. The Macomb Police Department's refusal to hold press briefings nor answer journalists' questions for over 2 weeks represent a disgraceful lack of transparency and allows the chief to evade any accountability. Chief Barker must step down and the Macomb Police Department must stop obstructing journalists' questions on this and other issues. Submitted by Heather McMeekin, President. The Macomb City Police Chief and Mayor Inman need to be more forthcoming and transparent about the issues concerning bad treatment of black residents. They have avoided comment rather than explaining their actions criticized by the Democratic women of McDonough County. Joanne Jones Curtis. Please allow me to make just a brief comment about Chief Barker based on my own personal knowledge and experience. Professionally, since Chief Barker and I have both been involved in public safety for many years, I can vouch for his integrity, his exemplary education, his management skills, and most importantly, his deep-rooted desire to serve the people of Macomb. I have observed him as an officer and now as chief, and I am very comfortable saying Macomb is fortunate to have a chief of this caliber. Personally, I feel that he is a devoted family man of high morale standards, and again, I say Macomb is fortunate to have a chief of this caliber. Chief Barker deserves to be respected and supported in his continuing leadership of the Macomb Police Department. Thank you for your consideration of my public comments. Noel Oliver. I'm not a resident, but I speak as someone who works in Macomb and spends most of my time and money when I am away from my hometown of Good Hope in Macomb. I saw the mayor doing his best to social distance a Juneteenth announcement, and that is fine, but in a community with a steady drip of credible acts of racism and metrics show we embrace the systematic racism within the history of America. It might be nice to have the whole city council in on Juneteenth. Dr. Abraham has addressed this. The police have notified us that they follow Illinois policing protocol, which is leading the nation in human treatment and receive de-escalation training. We are in a moment where young people, current and future students of WIU, are telling us they know we can change, and the mayor is out there by himself proclaiming things, but he can't be everywhere at once. How are the residents of this area going to be energized to meet this moment of racial justice without their community leaders saying a peep? When did you learn what Juneteenth was? Do you think America was a free country for all of our existence? Do you think this is a community where students of all races can learn and grow here? I'll go first. I have known about it for several years in my awareness as being of a more perfect union. Before that, I learned it only as a fact I needed to know for a test. This year, I learned of the practice of shipping thousands of slaves to Texas in order to postpone or prevent them from gaining their freedom during the war. It could be healing for people to admit how recently they learned about what Juneteenth is and the historical significance of it. Thank you for your time. Jessica LaFountain. As someone who works in social services, I work with Macomb residents and have for the last 20 years. Some of the people I work with have had run-ins with the police. I hear about those incidents, and it would not benefit anyone to not be honest about their experiences. The police are respectful to the people they are interacting with. They are sensitive to situations, especially when there are children and those with disabilities involved. I think our police force is well-trained and is taking the extra steps in this crucial time. There are an infinite amount of variables on how people react to situations, but I have confidence in our city force. I think our police force and mayor are working tirelessly for all of us, and they have my support and vote of confidence. Jenny Calvert, West Central Illinois Center for Independent Living. And the last one. I would just like to take a minute to give my heartfelt and sincerest thanks to all law enforcement officials that provide service to the residents of Macomb and McDonough County. The Macomb PD, Sheriff's Office, WIU, OPS, and ISP all put their lives on the line on a daily basis for this community. They all do this while putting their own and their family lives at risk. The leaders of these departments have been led through ridiculous scrutiny over the past few weeks after doing nothing more than being respectful and thoughtful to all, while trying to support their officers and doing their best to keeping them safe and us safe. God bless them and all of you. May they continue on protecting and serving the people of Macomb and McDonough County. Quentin W. Bucher. That's all.
Thank you.
So I need to unmute everyone.
All right, is there anyone else wishing to speak under the public comment section of tonight's agenda?
Okay, I've asked everyone to unmute if they would like to provide any comments.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under the public comment section of tonight's agenda? Hearing none, Mr. Administrator, I think you have something you'd like to read in the record.
During the June 15th City Council meeting, Dr. Martin Abraham, interim president of Western Illinois University, addressed the council with a very important message. During his remarks, we all became victims of undesired participants disrupting the meeting with inappropriate actions. Mayor Inman has since personally apologized to Dr. Abraham for the unfortunate and unforeseen interruptions. We took immediate steps to remove the offending person from the meeting, and when the second attempt was made, ceased all screen sharing and comments to ensure security of the meeting. This was not in any way an attempt to censor or discourage comments or input from our community. It is further our understanding that some participants of the June 15th meeting felt that the removal of the chat feature was an attempt to ignore or discourage public comment. The members of city staff present in council chambers and participants on the phone do not have the ability to see the video of the Zoom meeting or the chat feature during or after the meeting. The chat function is not official public comment. They are side conversations between some participants on the call, similar to private conversations in council chambers during an in-person meeting. The chat can also be used by those with other motives to cause disruption. When we transitioned to remotely accessible hearings, we adapted our rules for public comment, allowing 3 ways to provide public comment: providing a special email address specifically for that purpose, allowing participants to speak on the Zoom call, and allowing comments to be mailed to City Hall. As explained last week, we became aware that some emails may not have been received after comments on social media. We immediately reached out to our technical support company to ascertain if any emails had not been delivered to the email inbox. Our outside tech company discovered there were 4 emails that were intercepted by the software protocols that they put in place. While they were not able to recover the original content, they were able to recover the email addresses. Upon receiving this information, we reached out personally to those addresses asking that any comments be resubmitted. While there are certain steps that can be taken to minimize access to the Zoom meeting platform, the city does not feel it appropriate to take such steps beyond removal of screen sharing and chat. To minimize access to the meeting undermines the openness of public government, wherein anyone can participate. We will not restrict participation in our meetings and remain committed to open access to government. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Under new business, item number 1, a resolution extending the resolution concerning the mayoral emergency proclamation declaring a civil emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic that was issued originally on April 16, 2020. A copy of the resolution is attached in your packet, and I would ask the city's attorney to give an overview of the resolution for the record, please.
Thank you. A copy is in your packet. I would make one addition in paragraph 2. We did add the June 26, 2020 date as the additional disaster declaration made by the governor. The balance of the resolution is identical to what's in your packet. The resolution does extend prior resolution 2020-04, which expires by its terms on July 1st, 2020. The proposed resolution would extend the emergency proclamation that was adopted, or was signed rather, on April 16th, 2020 to August 17th of 2020, unless extended by the council or terminated by resolution. This allows primarily for the availability of funding for expenses incurred during the pandemic.
Thank you. Appreciate that being read into the record. Would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution. Excuse me.
Make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the resolution. Any discussion? All righty, hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Wayland,
Aye.
Jesse,
Aye.
A. Carper,
Aye.
G. Carper.
Aye.
Did Tammy sign on?
Yes.
Okay.
thank you.
Brown Edwards.
I did have a question. I was trying to,
Okay,
I
Alderman
guess we're
Brown
already in the
Edwards.
vote now.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, the question or with the vote?
I think with the question.
yeah, go ahead with
Yeah,
the
you were still
question.
muted, so go ahead with the question.
Okay, thank you. The question I had was, what was the reasoning of the end date that is given?
I was not a part of those discussions, so any answer I would give would be an assumption. But my assumption is that at the time that it was adopted, we likely did not anticipate the full extent of the pandemic. And I think probably we wanted to minimize the length of that as opposed to having a very long temporary resolution so that the council could have input.
Any other questions, Alderman Brown Edwards?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, do you recall why August 17th was the due date or the end date?
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood your question. August 17th corresponds with an existing scheduled council meeting. So we had to schedule this as a special meeting because typically it would have been a committee of the whole. So August 17th correlates with a normal Monday council meeting.
And I guess my question is, why wouldn't it expire in July versus August?
That's something that the council could determine. I mean, it can expire whenever the council would want it to expire. And previously, the disaster declarations were issued on a monthly basis, including when Resolution 2020-04 was adopted and the council extended beyond the date of that initial statewide disaster declaration as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, she's still in the queue for the vote. Alderman Brown Edwards, your vote.
Abstain.
Moon.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Don't believe there's any other business to come before you this evening. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
It's It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, excuse me, you need a roll call vote. Thank you.
Wayland,
Aye.
Vajezzi,
Aye.
A. Carper,
Aye.
G. Carper,
Aye.
Brown Edwards,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
all ayes.
Motion carried, meeting adjourned. Thank you.